Welcome to the Geeks and Greeks podcast, where we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of sports. We couldn't be more thrilled to kick off this exciting journey with all of you. In this podcast, we'll dive into everything from game recaps to news and hot takes. Whether you're a diehard fan or just someone looking to stay in the loop, there's something here for everyone. So grab your favorite team's jersey, settle in with some snacks, and let's get ready for an adrenaline-packed ride through the world of sports. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast. We got a great show packed with a lot of fun stuff going on today, and I can't wait to get into it. Before we do, how's everyone's week been going so far?
You know, it is camp week this week for my daughter, and so she is gone for the next 3 days, and it is weird. It's a bizarre feeling. Like, you'd think I'd be used to it because she goes to her mom's house every other week, but, like, the fact that she's not at home and not at Danny's place just makes me terrified. So it's been a week.
Well, for us, we're wrapping up the school year, so for the ultra-competitive extracurriculars, that means we get started for next year.
Yeah.
And so this is where we're getting everything started for show choir. Got to start learning everything now.
Oh, nice. Is she doing show choir next year?
Yep.
What happened at the Japan trip?
She's still doing that.
Yeah, okay. Double dipping, huh?
Yeah. I don't know where she gets all this ambition. Must be...
Couldn't beat Dad. They had tried to do, 3 college degrees at the exact same time.
Hey, economy of time.
Oh, man. All right. Well, today's episode, guys, we're going to do something that we have been talking about for a little while. It's going to be another top 10 lists episode, but this one's going to be our top 10's favorites of comic book movies. And I am super stoked for this.
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to this one. Honestly, I probably could have done this one blindfolded with no prep time at all. I am obsessed with comic book movies. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there right now that most of my suggestions, they're not my top 10 best ones of all time. I love pretty much every comic book movie. I am such a mark for them. It's stupid. So I was going for on a theme, trying to stay away from your standard DC and Marvel universe comic book movies. So I've got a bunch of other movies you might not think of as comic books, but I love comic book movies. That's enough saying it.
All right, well then, Pete, why don't you get things started? What's your what do we want to say, number 7?
Number 7, okay. I am gonna go with a weird one that honestly I didn't even really know was a comic book movie. Was Big Hero 6. So they apparently had a comic book line that went from 08 to 09, and that is where they got the idea for the movie. And I actually think that's pretty cool. I watching the movie the first time did not know it was about from a comic book, but it's pretty cool.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, what do you rate Big Hero 6?
I'm going to give it a 7.5.
All right. And Adam?
So this is one of those movies that when it first came out, I remember I didn't really care very much. Because when it came out, I'm already in my mid-20s by this point, so I just didn't really care about another Disney animated movie. But going back and watching it, This movie was so good. Like, I really, really like this movie. And I also didn't know that this was a comic book movie either. But I agree. This was a really well done movie, and this was a lot of fun. I'd probably say a 7.
All right. I cannot pass up on the opportunity to poke fun at Pete, saying that you tried to avoid DC and Marvel in your first movie as a Marvel property.
Yeah, I know. It's not the classic Marvel. It's not MCU.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
That's really what I meant.
But it still had the Stan Lee cameo, so you gotta love that.
That's true.
Which is impressive they got that in there, I will say that.
Yeah.
I really like Big Hero 6, Baymax, the tragedy of killing off the sibling and making that the hero's motivation in a cartoon. Gutsy move. Well done. I give this a 7.5. Adam, could I have your next movie?
So, my next, well, I guess my technically first one, I guess we'll stay on, it's in the Marvel universe as well, but he also was not in the MCU universe. My first one I'm going to put up is the Punisher movie with Tom Jane. Or the, as I call it, Punisher Original.
This is the one that came out in the 80s?
No, this came out in like 2003, 2004, or something like that.
Okay, and that's the one with John Travolta as the bad guy?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, all right. Got to preface, because there's like 4 Punisher movies nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So this came in like 2003 to 4, something like that, and this is when comic book movies weren't really a thing. Marvel didn't have their own studio. This was kind of just this was really just marketed just as a movie. Like, Marvel didn't really have a whole lot of presence at this point.
Right.
Like, I mean, besides for Punisher and like maybe like something like the Blade trilogy and a few others, Marvel didn't do movies at all.
Yeah.
So this was a huge deal. I mean, he had Spider-Man as well by this point. Spider-Man had been pretty successful for Marvel. But, like, this movie was really, really good. The only thing I didn't like about this movie was just how short it was. Like, this was a super short movie, like, very quick to the point, which I guess kind of fits with Punisher style. Very, very quick and very much just to the point. Yeah. But I loved Tom Jane as the Punisher. I thought he played it the best of anyone that's done it since 2000. Like, the guy they got for the second movie was not good. I don't like the new guy that they got playing him in the Netflix series, or now the Disney series. I can't remember his name, but, like, I don't like... He's okay, but, like, I don't know. I just thought Tom Jane played it the best, honestly. He was by far my favorite one. So... I'm going to give this movie probably I'll give it 7.8.
And Pete, what are your thoughts on The Punisher?
Yeah, so there was one before this that I was thinking of, and the funny thing is when it came out, I felt like it was marketed more as a remake of the Punisher movie from the 80s than it was of a movie based on the comic book The Punisher. And it was like... That was always the feeling that I got about it when it came out. Maybe due to the advertising or whatever. I think it's funny because, like, a couple years difference feels like a lot more, because you're like, this is the first Punisher movie. I'm like, well, no, there was one that came out before it, and I kind of like that movie. And it kind of lowered my opinion of this one. At the same time, I agree with you about the guy who plays Frank Castle in this one, and I love John Travolta as a bad guy. I think I'll give this one a 7.5 as well.
I've actually seen the one that Pete's talking about. Dolph Lundgren played the Punisher back.
That's right, it was Dolph Lundgren.
And I thought that was hilarious. But I gotta admit, I think I might like this one more than the 80s one. When they got... Crap, I'm blanking on his name.
Kevin Nash
to play... the Russian, and that fight is iconic.
He just beats the ever-loving crap out of him.
And then when he stabs the Russian with the knife, and the Russian just looks at him and smiles, it is just sends shivers down your spine.
Well, it was funny because I remember hearing that Nash was supposed to be in this movie, but when it first came out, I didn't recognize him because the last time we saw him in like wrestling, he had long hair. So I didn't know that he cut his hair for the movie. So with the short hair, I didn't quite recognize him. And plus you don't really get a good look at his face very much in the movie during the fight scene. So it's like after the movie, I'm like, it had to be the Russian. There's no one else in the movie big enough to be Kevin Nash. Like it had to be the Russian. But it's like at the first start, I didn't recognize him just because, like I said, with that haircut, I didn't recognize him with short hair.
But yeah, I like the Russian. I like Jane as the Punisher. I like John Travolta as the villain. It was very, very well done. I give this a 7.8.
He played such a good villain. Such a good villain.
All right. Things have been too good for too long around here, so I'm going to get yelled at. My movie that I'm going to put up is The Kingsman.
Okay.
And before you at me, yes, it is a comic book series. It came out in 2012 and was so popular that they made a movie about it. But
okay.
This is one of my favorite movies, and it may be on here just because it's one of my favorite movies, and it happens to be based on a comic book.
It makes things more convenient that way.
Yes. But I won't... If you're interested in my thoughts on this matter, go to our top 10 Bond-ish-like characters, and you can hear me fangirl all over this.
Wax poetic.
I gave it a 10 that time, and I give it a 10 this time.
Coming out of the gate swinging.
Yeah.
I like The Kingsman as well. I wouldn't say it's probably one of my favorite movies. I didn't even know it was based off a comic book, to be honest with you, so it's not even on my list. But I do like this movie, and yeah, we have talked about this before in one of our previous episodes, and it's a really good movie. It's a fun movie as well. I'd say probably, I'll do a 7.8, same as Punisher.
And Pete, your thoughts on The Kingsman?
Oh man, I wish I knew what I had rated it way back when. But you could just take that score. No, I like The Kingsman. I actually found out this was based on a comic while researching this show, and I figured I'd leave that one to you, so I didn't even bother putting it on my list. I really like The Kingsman. I want to say I liked it more than The Punisher, so I'm gonna give it an 8.
All right. And submit. Pete, could I have your next movie?
All right. For my next movie, I think I'm going to go with one of my favorite all-time movies. Is a throwback to my childhood. And I know that we had said we were going to do series together, but I'm putting this one as a single movie. It also has Kevin Nash in it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. You might say we could put the whole series in. That's debatable. The first one was very good, but the second one was perfection. I mean, that movie is amazing from beginning to end. I still, like, every time I eat a really good pepperoni pizza, I go, pepperoni heaven, because of that movie. Like, everything. I love this movie. I've seen it probably 600 times. I'm probably partially in IT because of Donatello. Like, it's everything. Probably the first comic book movie I ever saw as well. So, at the same time, I say perfection, I'm giving it a 9. I don't have 10s on any of my movies.
You said a 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, I have a question for you. Then, which movie have you seen more of? Have you seen Teenage Ninja Turtles: The Slime, or Talladega Nights more?
Oh my god. Probably Talladega Nights, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I usually can't go more than a couple of months without stumbling upon it and having to watch at least half of it.
I also really liked this movie as well. It's funny because we did talk about the series and stuff. I've never even seen the third one, to be honest with you. I think I've seen maybe part of it once, and it wasn't even that good. So I'm like,
You're not
terrible.
missing anything.
It's terrible.
I think that I agree with Pete in the fact that I'm pretty sure that this was also, if not this one, then the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was the first comic book movie I probably saw as a kid.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. I can't think of another one that I saw before it or around the same time. So, but yeah, this one was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the second one a lot. I liked it more than the first one too. I don't know if I'd call it perfection, but I do agree that it is a really, really good movie. I mean, Casey Jones is in it, man.
Yeah, Casey Jones is in the second, or in the first one.
Oh, was it the first one? I thought he was
Yeah.
in the second one.
Vanilla Ice is in the second one.
Oh, yeah.
Tokar and
Anyway.
Razor. Come on, man. Master says have fun. And they're like walking around the city just knocking shit over. So good.
In those 1990s animatronics.
Heck.
I think I'm going to rate this one, for me, it's probably going to be an 8.
All right. This movie was definitely one of my childhood favorites. I think the funniest part about the movie that stuck with me the longest, and it wasn't even part of the movie, it was at the very end when the Shredder fell in. Spoiler alert.
For a movie that came out in 1989.
When the Shredder falls into the dump truck, and Casey Jones goes, oops, and then crushes the Shredder. My mom, sitting next to me in the theater, goes, well, that was dark.
That wasn't Casey Jones. That was...
No, that was... You guys are thinking of the first movie.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the first movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay, I
The
thought-
second one, the Shredder got crushed by a pier.
Well, he crushed himself in the second one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when
Yeah.
he... Yeah.
That was my favorite trivia question as a kid, is which Ninja Turtle killed the Shredder? None of them. He killed himself.
Killed himself.
But yeah, I love the first two Ninja Turtle movies. There's a rumor there's a third one, but I don't listen to those rumors.
Eh.
I give this movie a 9.
All right.
Adam, could I have your next movie?
Okay. So my next one is going to be one so this one's going to be an actual series, and it's going to be also fairly new, and that is going to be the Deadpool series.
Aha.
Nice.
And it's one of those where these movies are just absolutely hysterical, and I mean, they're great adult fun. I can't say family friendly because they are not family friendly
They're
at all.
not family friendly.
But I mean, Ryan Reynolds, it's like this. I swear that they wrote the comic book specifically for Ryan Reynolds to play it. They didn't, but like it feels like it so much. And honestly, I'm sure I am assuming you guys have seen Deadpool vs. Wolverine.
Oh yeah, 100
Like-
times.
That movie was so funny. Like, you can tell that they had such a fun time doing that, and that they were just messing with each other the entire time filming. Like, there was just so much fun had when they were doing that movie. It was great. I loved this movie. This series has been so funny. It's great. And it was treated as a joke when they first were doing it, too.
yeah.
And it's by far Marvel's probably bestseller right now because nobody else cares about what Marvel's doing at this point. So,
I mean,
For
is it
me,
Marvel? I thought it was
I'm gonna
licensed
give-
through Fox.
huh?
It was originally Fox, but then when Disney bought Fox,
Oh, they
Yeah.
do own it now? Okay.
yeah, they do own it now.
Yeah. I'm going to give this an 8.5.
And Pete, what are your thoughts on the Deadpool series?
So, I love the Deadpool series. I'm glad Ryan Reynolds finally found a movie to, like, break him out, because for the longest time he was stuck in that, like, Van Wilder world where that was the only person I could see him as. And he finally, like, I don't know, grew up, I guess is the best thing to say, even though he obviously didn't at all if you've ever seen a Deadpool movie. But, like, he did in a way. I don't know how to explain it. But I think this whole series has been really good. I actually haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet. But that is because I don't have Disney Plus right now, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But I will give this an 8.7.
Yeah, like the interaction in the first Deadpool movie, like when him and Weasel are going back and forth making fun of each other, is just absolutely one of the greatest like sketches ever. And just that those two going back and forth was great.
Oh man. Yeah, and I know it's his thing and that's what Deadpool is known for, but I love the fourth wall breaks.
Oh yeah.
When in the second movie, when you had Josh Brolin playing Cable and he keeps calling him Thanos and making Goonie references, it's like, that's amazing.
Fourth wall break inside of a fourth wall break. What? That's like 8 wall breaks.
And to give Pete a taste of what he's missing, I love when he and Blind Al are talking about doing cocaine, and they go, "No, Feige said that cocaine is off limits. You can't talk about that in a Disney movie." But this actually cracked my top 5, and Adam beat me to it. I give the Deadpool series a 9.5.
Nice.
Okay. This is going to be my sacrificial lamb.
No.
This is a movie that I'm almost certain neither of you have seen, but it is one of my favorites, near and dear to my heart. It is a movie called Batman: Assault on Arkham. Now, this is what the Suicide Squad should have been. And it wasn't. Basically, this is a story of the Suicide Squad being formed, them being sent into Arkham to steal the Riddler's cane and maybe kill the Riddler. Who knows? But you've got Kevin Conroy as Batman, which this is not going to be the last time you hear Kevin Conroy's name tonight, I'm certain of it. And John DiMaggio played King Shark. For those of you who don't know, that's Bender from Futurama, or Jake from Adventure Time.
Or if you ever played Final Fantasy X, he was Waka.
Yep. And Carlo Esposito played Black Spider. Moff Gideon, or Gus Fring if you're a Breaking Bad fan. The cast is great, the story is great, and my favorite is when the Joker was about to kill one of the Suicide Squad guys, and Waller pushes his button and his head explodes, and the Joker looks at the gun and goes, "Best gun ever." But this is one of my favorites. I give it a 9.8, but I will not be offended if you guys have never seen it.
Yeah, I have not seen this one. I've watched a lot of Batman, but this is one that passed me by, and you didn't tell me I should watch it to prep for this, so I didn't watch your other one.
Yeah, I blame you on that one, Tom. You didn't tell us about this one. I would have watched it.
I didn't want to give you guys too much. It makes me feel like I'm assigning homework.
Yeah, but this is good homework.
Right, yeah. Twist my arm to watch a Batman movie, please.
Hell, I gave you one last night. But yeah, no, I haven't seen it either. I mean, it sounds great, and I mean, from the ones that I've seen, the DC animated series are so much better than the DCU they tried to do.
Yeah,
100%.
The last like 10 years, it just fell completely flat.
I don't understand Warner Brothers' disconnect with Batman. It's like they do Batman in cartoons amazingly, and they do Batman in movies, but like live action television, he just doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so strange. And he's such a good character for television. And like the Batman the Brave and the Bold series,
Yes.
the Justice League, what's it called? The one that's the same art style of Batman Brave and the Bold. It's the same like continuation of it.
Oh.
Can't think of what it's called.
I don't know that one.
But it's the Justice League show.
Yeah.
And then they had to bring left and they brought it back. Anyway, it's so much better when Batman's there. And that's honestly what I blame that CW Arrowverse falling apart on and not being that great. No, don't get me wrong. I like the CW Arrowverse. I watched a lot of it. Supergirl was meh. Black Lightning was phoned in sometimes. It was pretty good. Arrow drove me nuts, but The Flash was fine.
Woot woot.
But, you know, I think the problem was they didn't have Batman. Like, you don't have Batman, it doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense without Batman. That's why he's here. And I don't understand their disconnect with him.
But I will say that if you hung on to the Arrowverse to the last few seasons, they did get some nice cameos from Kevin Conroy, who does the voice. And he did a cameo as Bruce Wayne. And I don't remember. I think there was one more big cameo, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, that's when they were doing the Crisis series. That was great. They did a really good job with Crisis, I think. They even brought in Doom Patrol. I don't know if you ever watched Doom Patrol. That was hilarious with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
That show's great.
I love that they got Tom Welling, the Smallville Superman, to play a bit in that.
Yep.
Oh, that was great.
So, you know, kind of going back to what you're saying about, you know, how they kind of mess up a lot of the live action stuff, but they leave the cartoon ones are so much better. I think it's because they don't care about the comic books, the cartoon version, because to them, Warner Brothers sees the live action movies as what's going to make them money, so they put their hands more into it. Whereas with the cartoon series, they see it as a cartoon series for kids, so they just kind of let it go off to the wayside and let the writers and the people who work for that just do what they do. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
All right. But moving along, submit. All right. Pete, could I have your next movie?
Okay. My next movie is another movie from my childhood. A little bit more on the scary side. This was from the Image comic books. It was a movie called Spawn.
Oh.
I can't think of any of the actors' names right now, to be honest with you. But it was a damn good movie.
John Leguizamo was Clown.
John Leguizamo, thank you. Played the Violator.
Yep.
And I was really into the Spawn comics when I was a kid. I was really into Image comics when I was a kid. For like this really intense period when I got into Max and Pitt and Spawn. And then Pitt ended and I lost complete interest in Image comics and I moved on to the X-Men and that was the rest of my childhood. But there was this like intense period when I was into Spawn. And he's got essentially an identical backstory to Ghost Rider, which is a little depressing, but yeah. So I gave this movie an 8.
And Adam, your thoughts on Spawn?
I liked Spawn. It wasn't one that I ever watched a ton of, but I did like it. It was fun. And spawned a line that I've used ever since I've watched the movie for the first time, and that was when the Violator, at one point in the movie, just goes, "You're going to be dead! D-E-D, dead!"
D.
And whenever I say it, people just look at me, I'm like, just go watch the Spawn movie. That's what I tell them, go watch the Spawn movie. You'll get it.
You'll get it.
But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, that line and just him misspelling the word "dead" just caught. Just I don't know, made me laugh. And I've said that line whenever I could, whenever I would get the chance to, and it's stuck with me ever since I've seen it. But yeah, I would say I'd probably give this movie. I'd probably say 7.5 for me.
John Leguizamo was amazing in this movie as Clown. Martin Sheen as the straight-laced bad guy, and then I'm gonna ruin his name. Michael J. White, I think is. He did Universal
Jai White?
Huh?
Is it Jai? Is it Jai? I think.
Yeah. But yeah, he was in the second Universal Soldier movie, but he was. I love the casting. I thought it was great, and you're right. John Leguizamo's Clown. He just every line was a catchphrase, and it was such a quotable movie. And you've been violated, girly man. Yeah, and it really broke my heart that right after this movie, Leguizamo came out and said he wanted to be a serious actor. It was like, you just got done playing Luigi and Clown. Your serious days are over. But
I mean, you
anyways,
could say after playing Luigi, his acting days in itself may be over.
But I give this movie an 8. Adam, could I have your next movie?
All right, my next one is going to be one of my favorites from when I was a kid. And we are going to go back to the Batman well, as we have. And this is another animated one. This is Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Ooh.
And I
nice
loved
choice.
this movie as a kid. Coming off of Batman the Dark Knight series, and this actually came out when the Dark Knight series was even still going.
Yep.
But this just had a completely different storyline to it, and almost kind of showed why Batman was Batman to a point. But like, one of the key points of this whole movie was that not only did it was based off Batman and Joker, as most good Batman movies have been, it seems like.
Yeah.
But one of the key points in this whole thing is that the bad guys in the Batman universe start coming up dead, and everyone keeps thinking that Batman's doing it. And it's like, what? And Gordon's the only one that's like, no, we know Batman doesn't kill anyone. Almost to an unfortunate fault, we know Batman doesn't kill people. So it's like, everyone's chasing him. It was a really, really good movie. And I absolutely loved this movie. Kevin Conroy was Batman again because there was no one else that was going to be doing Batman voicing at that point in time. So Joker's in it with Mark Hamill as well. And it was such a really, really good movie. I would give this probably a 9.
And Pete, what are your thoughts on Mask of the Phantasm?
So, I just recently watched this movie. By recently, I mean today. And it took a lot for me to remember that we're not reviewing this, like, point by point, and just get an overall gist of the movie. But I do have to say that one thing I didn't like about the movie is it's not a congruent story. They keep jumping back and forth through time, and they don't explain it. And so you're watching this story, and they're cartoons, so there's really no difference between them from a few years ago and right now. And, like, it doesn't really make sense until the end, and you see the World's Fair all, like, dilapidated. It's like, I guess 20 years have passed, like, since the other scenes we're seeing that acted like they were last week. Like, easily could have been last week. It was a little confusing in that regard. And being a kid's movie, like, I kind of got to knock you on that. You got to explain a little bit more that we're jumping back and forth here. But other than that, the voice acting cast was on point. I think I'm going to give this movie a 9 as well.
So I'm the low man here. I enjoy Mask of the Phantasm. First time I saw it, my only criticism was that the girl should have been Talia al Ghul, but that's just because I was on a Damian Wayne kick, and it was like, that's not who that's supposed to be. But it was a good movie. I really like the whole. You kind of realize that, yeah, Batman's working outside the law, and when even that starts to go against him, where does he go? So it does give you a sense of hopelessness in his situation. I do like it. It just fell out of my top 10. I give this an 8.5.
Do gotta ask though, man, why do we gotta end every Batman movie with Batman sad?
Because he can't be happy.
Because then he can't be Batman if he's not sad.
I know, but like he goes through this whole thing and he gets the girl and everything else, and then she just dies and it's over, and like he's sad again. And it's like, can't we have one movie where he's just like, you know what, maybe things will be okay?
All right. My next movie. I am going to get a lot of grief about just bandwagon hopping, but this is The Avengers. Yes, Marvel Avengers. Yes, all four of them. The Avengers series. Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity Wars, and Endgame. I love each and every one of these movies. Even Age of Ultron, who gets a lot of crap, if you actually go back and watch it on its own, it really holds up. And if you don't cry at the end of Endgame, you have no soul.
Well, I mean, Ginger, no soul, dude.
But I give the Avengers series a 9.6.
So I was debating with the Avengers. I actually ended up not putting it on my list. And not that I didn't like the series. I did enjoy the series. It's just, I think for me, by the time it was over, I was just so burnt out on the Marvel Universe that it was more like I was just ready for it to be done. Because there was so much going on, and they were just pumping out so many movies at that point that I'm like, I just want Endgame to come and go so that we get a break. Because there was like a movie every 6 months coming out from Marvel, basically.
Yeah, about that.
And it's like, dude, we need a break, man. Like, you're doing, like, it's almost too much, but because you know they're right at the end of the entire saga that they've been building for 15 years, you kind of feel like you have to watch each movie. I'm just like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to keep watching these movies. But Avengers was really well done. I do like them. I mean, Age of Ultron was by far probably my least favorite, with Endgame being next, to be honest. I'd probably say I'd give this a 9 for the entire series.
Alright. And Pete, your thoughts on the Avengers series?
I'll try not to be too long-winded. I couldn't disagree with Adam more. I did not have Marvel fatigue at all when the Avengers movies were coming out. I think the first Avengers movie is possibly the greatest action film of all time. Probably a little biased because my buddy works for a movie theater. So, like, I got to see most of these movies for free. I'm not going to lie. But I saw every single one of them in the theaters. And What I like to think about is the time when we saw the first Avengers together, and it was like me and like 3 other guys, and we got a case of beer, and we all got a bunch of hoagies, and we're like sitting in the theater, we're watching it in 3D by ourselves. Like, it was a fantastic time. I love every superhero movie that's pretty much come out, and I think I might be in a period of Marvel fatigue, but it's mostly been like, I lost my Disney Plus account a while back, and like, I just haven't thought about it. I'll probably get back into Marvel movies. I watched Kraven the Hunter, and I hated it. So I was like, am I in Marvel fatigue? I don't know.
You and everybody else hated it, though, to be fair.
Yeah, that is
Technically,
fair.
Kraven is Sony, not Marvel.
I mean,
It's
that's
part
true,
of the
that's
Sony
true.
universe. It's part of the Marvel universe that Sony owns.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I didn't know people didn't like Age of Ultron. I thought that movie was great. I'm a mark for all of these. I give them a 9.5. So, yeah, Avengers is awesome.
All right. Pete, could I have your next movie?
All right. I think if we're going to bandwagon stuff, I'm going to go ahead and keep bandwagon stuff. And I'm going to go Into the Spider-Verse.
Literally
It
Spider-Verse?
is one of the better Spider-Man cartoons that have been put out probably ever, I'd say. Absolutely solid movie, even if it wasn't a cartoon. Fantastic story. It's helping sew together bits and pieces of the Marvel Universe that, if you're only watching the live-action MCU, you don't get a part of. Miles Morales is the shit, both in the comics and in the movies. I don't know what else to say about it. So I gave that one a 9.
And Adam, your thoughts on the Spider-Verse series?
I think I may have only seen one. Was this? I think I've only seen one movie in this series. I think I saw Into the Spider-Verse was the one. Was there more than one movie in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Into and then Across.
Okay, so I didn't see Across the Spider-Verse. I just saw Into the Spider-Verse was the only one I've seen of this series. But I really liked Into the Spider-Verse. Like, I thought it was... It's one of those where it's also a good mixture of, you've got really good action, you've got some drama in there too, but you've also got comedy. Like, it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, when they included Spider-Pig, like, you just had to laugh when Spider-Pig shows up. Like, he just walks into the room and, like, just looks at me and goes, what? You ever seen a pig? like he's just strolling in like it'd just be a normal thing. A pig in a Spider-Man outfit. It's just an everyday occurrence. Like, it was a really good movie. Like I said, I have to base it off just that one because I haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse, so... But I still give that one a solid, like, 8.8 for it. And
Yeah.
I'm also a super mark for Spider-Man.
You know, the funny thing about Spider-Pig is he was a spider that was bit by a radioactive pig.
Pig. I love just the concepts. Like, Noir, Spider-Man, and Spider-Pig were amazing characters.
Yeah.
And then you got the voice actors. You've got Nicolas Cage and John Mulaney.
Right.
And I'm like, perfect. That is just chef's kiss. And I'm a bit of a Spider-Man mark myself. And when I found that the girl that he had a crush on was Gwen Stacy, and I was like, holy shit, that's Gwen Stacy! And then it was even Spider-Gwen, Gwen Stacy, not just regular Gwen Stacy.
Right.
But yeah, I really like both of them. I like the first one better than the second one, but the second one was still pretty good.
Agreed.
I give the Spider-Verse series an 8.8. Adam, could I have your next movie?
Okay, so we are going to keep on the bandwagon and stay in the Spider-Man universe. So we're going to go with the Spider-Man series that featured Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. So this one was always my favorite. Probably, I mean, these movies came out like when I was in like high school. So I mean, this was like, you know, for me, it was like the peak of like for comic books and all this kind of stuff. So I mean, it's probably why, to be honest with you. And also, it's one of those things where it's funny when I talk to people about like, you know, Spider-Man and the live action movies they've done. Even though obviously the casting was bad just because of how old they were, but to be fair, nobody casted teenagers to play teenagers.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to take that out of the equation. But like, I felt like Tobey Maguire played the best Peter Parker. Like, of Peter Parker himself, I thought Tobey Maguire fit that role the best. Now, as Spider-Man, maybe not. But I felt like as Peter Parker, just as the everyday nerd, Tobey Maguire was the best one to play that role by far. But I like these. The first two were I liked a lot more than the third one. The third one, they just did too much for me. Yeah. If they would have cut out one of the bad guys instead of having three different ones, it would have been better. But like, 1 and 2 were great. Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin was absolutely fantastic. Like, by also one of my favorite actors. I love Willem Dafoe too, and just the sociopath, the way he played him, and just how well he did it, it made that entire movie. It really, really did. So, I love this series. For me, this is a 9.5.
And Pete, what are your thoughts on the Maguire series of Spider-Man?
So this is yet another series I couldn't disagree with you more, to be honest with you. I think Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man are terrible, and I think they get more unwatchable as they go along. William Dafoe's Green Goblin saves the first one. Absolutely. I will watch that movie to watch William Dafoe Gollum out with his mask any day of the week, because his Green Goblin was perfect. But Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker was such a whiny little bitch. And that scene where he's like crying at the end because he realizes he can't go be with Mary Jane, and like the way they wrote him meeting Mary Jane, like it's not even right. I don't know. I liked them as a kid. Don't get me wrong. When I was a child, I saw these movies in the theaters. I even liked the third one the first time I saw it. I was in the middle of my emo phase. It worked out. Like, I guess I was okay with it. But going back and trying to watch them with my kids, the first movie, I'm like, okay, I didn't realize it was that bad, but that was watchable. The second one, when Peter is having dinner with Dr. Octavius before everything goes awry. Mm-hmm. And he's just giving him that, like, look that it's supposed to be like the father, like, looking on his child, like, oh, you have a crush. But it's just like creepy uncle, like, ooh, who you seeing at school there, kid? And, like, I don't know. And then the obsession with tritium that he has for the whole movie, he can't just call it tritium, he has to call it his precious tritium. And, like, I guess that's another Gollum reference, but it drove me insane. I hate James Franco. Like, I hate James Franco. And William Dafoe is just removed from that character, so I don't get to, like, laugh at how his dad hates him. So, like, fuck James Franco in that movie. And then the third one, Venom being freaking Eric Foreman from that 70s show, it was like, are you kidding me? Like, this couldn't be as far from Venom as possible with this guy. And you're right, they had too many villains in that one, and it was bad. And the whole scene where he was dancing on the street and wearing the black suit, and oh my god, I was embarrassed for him watching the movie. I can't watch them again as an adult. And because of that, I gotta give them a 4.5. I'm sorry, dude. I can't stand these movies.
I am kind of in between you guys. I love the villains, and you guys have hit on it. I love Dafoe as the Green Goblin. He's maniacal. He does that sinister, dangerous, crazy phenomenally. Blanking on his name. Alfred Molina, I think is his name.
Yep.
Phenomenal. He does that professor, a Dr. Octopus, but he has that, like, he comes off as a college professor, as he's an inventor, he's creating something, he's got that passion. I'm just not going to talk about the third movie. But I give the Spider-Man Maguire series a 7. Okay. Double check this hasn't been... Okay. I am going back to one of the earliest comic book movies I ever saw, and it was in 1989 when Michael Keaton put on the cowl and became Batman. This movie was Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
I can just leave it there. It was Tim Burton. It was fantastic. It was dark. It was scary. It was Batman, and it was like miles from Adam West, which at the time that was the benchmark. Just don't be Adam West. Don't be gray tights and hopping around, please. And then followed it up with Batman Returns with Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito, and another seriously dark interpretation of Batman. It was phenomenal, and it made me very sad that they cut it there, because I would have loved to have seen what Tim Burton would have done with a Riddler and Two-Face, and later, well, probably would have gotten better villains than Poison Ivy and Bane, but it definitely wouldn't have been that cringe.
Well, he started that one with... he started Batman Forever. They changed directors mid-film.
Well, yeah, it was crazy early. It was like the first month they got rid of him. And as soon as Tim Burton left, then Michael Keaton went with him. Which was probably a good call.
Yeah.
But I give the Michael Keaton series of the Batman movies a 9.3. Pete, what are your thoughts on the Michael Keaton Batman movies?
All right. So, Michael Keaton is easily my favorite Batman. I do categorize them. So I have a favorite Batman, I have a favorite Bruce Wayne, I have a favorite both. He's my favorite Batman just as Batman. I think his Bruce Wayne was super nerdy, and I don't like that for my billionaire playboys. It's just how I feel. I actually don't really like the second one that much. I've got a lot of problems with the Penguin story. I've got a lot of problems with the fact that he looks like a penguin and waddles like a penguin, and the sewage coming out of his mouth and his flippers for hands. Like, it was too much for me as a kid. It's easily my least favorite live-action Batman movie. I actually adore Batman Forever, though. You got to remember, I was 10 years old when Batman Forever came out, so I was peak, like, this is for you specifically, 10-year-old white boy who lives in a suburb of Philly. You know, here's Batman Forever. Have a nice day. I saw that movie 100 times. I am gonna say, just because of the first one, I'm giving this a 9. It makes up for everything that I think was wrong in the second one.
All right, and Adam, what are your thoughts on the Keaton series of Batman?
The exact opposite of Pete's.
Damn.
Except I liked the first one too, but like the second one was better than the first one. Like my problem with the first one is that there was no action to it almost until the very end of the movie. Like, you had a few scenes here and there, but like the first movie was mainly a drama with a few action scenes sprinkled in here and there. Because you had them come into the restaurant and knock everybody out. So there's not even an action scene there where he fights them off a bit. And then you have him fighting in the bell tower. And that's really about it as far as action goes for the entire movie. other than that, this is a drama, which is not bad, but it's also not really a Batman movie. Whereas where you get, Batman Returns with the next one, you get a lot more action sequences and a lot more stuff going on. It feels more like a Batman movie to me. And I don't know, I loved Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer as these two. And yeah, I mean, Pete does make a point where Penguin looking like a penguin is kind of weird because he was never supposed to look like a penguin. Like, he wasn't supposed to be physically deformed like that. But it also fits Tim Burton's... That's just Tim Burton, though, too, I think. That's kind of... I think Tim Burton took a little bit of creative control in that aspect, but I really like this. I mean, I'd say I'd probably give the whole series a 9.5 for those two movies. And I absolutely hate Batman Forever. I've never watched the whole movie because it's so terrible. Even when I was a kid, I couldn't watch this movie. It was so bad.
Oh, come on.
And it just sucked. Like, I think I've seen the first, half hour 3 or 4 times, and I can't get past it, and I just walk away and turn it off.
Heck.
I do want to say, though, I do think that Jack Nicholson's Joker is very closely based on Cesar Romero's Joker. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think he's a dark version of Cesar Romero's Joker. And I actually think Cesar Romero's Joker is the best one out there. If you go back and watch that series, the way the Joker is written and the things he does is so good. And I think he's much more comic book like in Adam West Batman than anything else.
I never put that together, but I always just saw Jack Nicholson as being Jack Nicholson and be like, yeah, I'm kind of the Joker too, but this is just really how Jack Nicholson is.
I could see that too.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
Pete, could I have your next movie?
All right. So I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty here. I'm trying to decide which ones I want to leave off and which ones I want to continue on. And I think I'm going to go with something I ranked a little lower, but I got to put in there because I've always been such a mark for horror and especially vampires. So I'm going to go with the Blade series. Wesley Snipes as the Blade. Couldn't have cast it better. The whole movie is acted terribly and nothing but action and, quick lines, but that's what you watch it for. It's weird vampire action film with mid-2000s alt-rock music playing over top while you watch people get sliced by swords. And it's just good vampire fun, and Ryan Reynolds is in it, although he's just Van Wilder if he was a vampire hunter.
That was number 3.
Yeah, he's in the third one. With Triple H, which Triple H has a line in that I quote all the time, but it doesn't make any sense out of context, where he walks up to Ryan Reynolds and he's like, "Have you seen my dog?" And Reynolds looks at him and goes, "Have you checked the lobby?"
Yep.
And I quote it, no one knows any idea what I'm talking about. Have you checked the lobby?
I love that bit. What do you rank the Blade series, Pete?
Oh, right. Yeah, so I got it a 7.9.
All right. And Adam, what are your thoughts on the Blade series?
I love the Blade series. I mean, I also found I think I found this or watched this not too long after also finding a lot of Wesley Snipes' other movies like Demolition Man and other things like that.
Yeah.
So I was coming off a huge Wesley Snipes kick when I first found it, which also helped it a lot. But I loved this. I mean, again, late 90s vampire movies, most of them weren't great. This one was just him beating the shit out of vampires.
Yep.
I mean, it was fun. Whistler's comic relief was absolutely hysterical in the entire thing. And it was so sad when he wasn't around for number 3.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, he was the best part of half the movies because of his one-liners he'd put out. And it's just I loved this movie. The first 2 were really good. Third one, again, yeah, just it was more of a comedy movie. Like, I don't know, I didn't like it as much, but the first two were really, really good, and I enjoyed them.
You didn't like the Vampire Pomeranian?
Yeah, that was the problem with the Blade series, is they ran into the problem of always trying to outdo the last movie, and they ran out of room of where to go, so they had to just bring in Dracula. And I'm like,
Yeah. It's like, once you kill Dracula, there's nothing left to do.
yeah.
Like, it's the reason they called it the final solution.
Adam, what do you rank the Blade series?
I give the Blade series a little bit higher of a rank than Pete does. I actually give this an 8.3. I'm just a sucker for Wesley Snipes.
I guess.
I really enjoyed the Blade series. When this came out, I was really starting to get into engineering as a subject, and this was just like crack, where it was like, all right, we have a problem. How do we kill vampires? And it's like little grenades that make sunlight, and a flashlight that's UV rays, and a silver knife thing that boomerangs around and comes back to you. And I was like, this is amazing. Like I said, they ran into the problem of trying to outdo themselves and hit a wall. But I really did like the movies. I give them an 8.7.
I love the car that had the UV lights in the front.
Yeah.
Adam, could I have your next comic book movie?
So the next one was one that came out, I think it was either right as I was graduating high school or like first year of college. One of the two. It was like that mid-2000s time frame, and I honestly forgot that it was a comic book movie until I was doing some research on it. And it's just because I never read the comic or graphic novel technically. But it's V for Vendetta. And I loved V for Vendetta. I love this movie. I watch it usually once a year, usually right around the 5th of November. Usually not on it, but right around that time frame I'll watch it. But this movie was great. Hugo Weaving as the voice of V is so well done, and you have just a lot of really good British actors and actresses in this movie. Natalie Portman's in this as well. There are so many good things about this movie. It was so well done. I loved it. It is a longer one though, because I think it's close to like 3 hours. It's a longer movie, so a lot of people today can have a harder time sitting through the whole thing just because of how long it is. But it's so well done. It's worth it. I love this movie, and I give it a 9.5.
And Pete, what are your thoughts on V for Vendetta?
I love V for Vendetta. It is one of my favorite movies of all time, I'd say. My buddy Steve, when the movie was in the theaters, I hadn't seen it yet. I called him up because he's the one who works at a movie theater, and I was like, so what's it like? And he's like, I have never been happier walking out of a movie theater than I am right now. And I'm like, okay, that's a ringing endorsement. I gotta go see this movie. I think it is a Natalie Portman masterpiece. It might be her best movie. I haven't sat down and ranked Natalie Portman movies, but this would definitely be in the running for her best movie. It's so topical even now. I think this movie came out in 2012, 2010, something like that. And even now, it so speaks to society and the way we treat one another and the way we act. The message still resonates to this day. And this movie is going to be timeless. I think this really is going to be one of the all-time classics that is considered a 21st century masterpiece. And I'm talking like I rated this better than an 8.9, but I did rate this an 8.9 because, sorry, Avengers is still better.
So this actually came out in 2005. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I tried to like this movie. I really did. I've watched it twice, and both times it was like fucking homework. It drags so bad. I was literally banging my head against the wall of my dorm room, just like, when is this gonna end? I understand that people like it. I understand a lot of people like it. I'm just not one of them. I don't know why. I'm a big fan of Hugo Weaving. I'm a big fan of Natalie Portman. This movie just was like nails on a chalkboard to me. But I recognize the greatness, I recognize the popularity, and I will give it a 7. Okay. I am going back to the Marvel well with my favorite engineer, Iron Man.
All right.
Yeah, every engineer dreams of making the Iron Man suit, just creating that kind of technology. And RDJ is phenomenal actor, and it doesn't hurt that he kind of lived the Tony Stark storyline before he even started acting the role. And he's just brought this character to life, and all of the improv, you don't realize how much of that character has been improv'd by RDJ on the fly. He's brought the character to life, he's given it personality, he's given it a soul. And I cannot see him as anything else but Iron Man for the rest of his days.
He did something besides Iron Man?
Do what?
So he did something besides Iron Man?
He's tried a few things. But I give the Iron Man series a 9.2. Adam, what are your thoughts on the Iron Man series?
So we're just doing Iron Man's 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I've actually never seen the third one.
Don't worry about it. You're not missing anything.
Yeah.
Like, at least not all the way through. I think I saw part of it, but I never came back and finished it. But, like, I really did like the first two. Yeah, I remember when they first announced that they had cast RDJ as Tony Stark, a lot of people were just like, really? Okay, like, they were just so unsure about it. And then the first Iron Man comes out and everyone's like, huh, yep, that's Tony Stark. Yep, that's not even a question. Like, it's like Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool. It's like he was just born to play that role, or that role was written as him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a good movie. Both of them. Both of them are such good movies. And I do really like them. I'd probably give it an 8.8.
All right. And Pete, your thoughts on the Iron Man series?
So, I mean, I think it's pretty difficult to remove Iron Man from the whole Infinity Saga in itself. The whole story really was entwined about Iron Man. Even the Captain America movie, like, he was given his shield by Iron Man's dad. You know, everything really went back to Iron Man in that story. I think that the third movie was great if you don't look at the source material and you just like throw the comic books in the trash and say, I'm going to watch this movie and pretend like this is something that might happen in a comic. But at the same time, I think it's key to the whole story. Maybe the reason you have Marvel fatigue is you didn't watch the third Iron Man movie, my friend, because, like, you got to keep the story going. You got to see all of them, otherwise they don't make sense. But I am gonna go. I'm gonna go and say it's not as good as the Avengers, so I gave them a 9.5. I'll give this a 9.3.
All right. And yeah, it broke my heart that I had to cut Civil War out of the Iron Man series because technically it's a Captain America movie.
Exactly.
All right, Pete, could I have your last movie for the top 10 list?
All right. I didn't get to do a Batman yet, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Christian Bale Batman Dark Knight series. I honestly did not like Batman Begins when it first came out. It took a while for it to grow on me. The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's Joker, just blew me away. It sold me on everything about the series. I even like the first one. Like, I'll watch it any day of the week because I know that one's coming. And then you guys joked about Bane being a bad guy, but Bane was so badass in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, I, all the time, to my children, put my hand in front of my face and go, "No one cared about me before I put on the mask." All the time. I am not gonna lie though, his voice through the whole movie sounded so much like I don't remember the actor that does the Sean Connery impersonation on Celebrity Jeopardy, but that's who I thought it was.
Will Ferrell.
Is it Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
No, not the Sean Connery. That
Sean
was...
Connery's. Is it Alec Baldwin?
No, I think he might have.
Whoever it was, but it sounded like that guy doing Sean Connery through the whole movie. And then, like, to find out it was Tom Hardy, I was just like, what?
Daryl Hammond.
Yeah, anyway, I think these movies get better as they go. Batman Begins was okay. The Dark Knight is fantastic, and The Dark Knight Rises is a masterpiece. So this I equally put with the Avengers of 9.5.
And Adam, your thoughts on the Christian Bale Batman series?
See, I find this funny because I liked Batman Begins a lot more than I liked The Dark Knight Rises. But we both agree that, I mean, to me, the best one of the entire series was The Dark Knight. Was the second one with Heath Ledger's Joker. I will watch that movie any day of the week, anytime. You tell me we're watching it, I'm like, where and when?
Yeah.
I'm there. Like, I love that movie so much. And it's funny, I remember when that year for like the Oscars that Heath Ledger had won Best Supporting Actor for that role, I actually got in an argument with a coworker a couple days after that because his opinion was that he wasn't that good and the only reason he won was because he had died. I'm like, no, dude, not a chance.
Yeah.
Like, which is funny coming from you because you hate Marvel and love DC, but yet you don't think someone in the Batman, like, you don't think you would have won that without it? Like, if he was alive, he still would have won that Oscar. Hands down. No one else came close that year.
Yeah.
But, like, I loved Heath Ledger's Joker. It was so good, and it was so captivating, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, through that entire movie, you legitimately didn't know what it was going to do the first time you watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I remember just watching it in the theaters just in awe the whole time. Because you weren't sure what twists were going to come after that. Just when you thought the movie was over, nope, it's not done yet.
Right.
And it's like, oh my god. And it sucks because it really felt like they wanted to use him for the third one. But,
Yeah.
like, because he died, obviously they couldn't. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's probably cliched, but, I mean, also Alfred's line in that movie, some men just want to watch the world burn. Like, it's such a great movie. And
Yeah.
Michael Caine delivering it, too,
Yeah.
was so great in this series.
Michael
But,
Caine is
yeah.
such a good Alfred.
No, he
I was kind of mad about it at first because I'm a big fan of the Muppet Christmas Carol. And I'm just like, oh, the crass Scrooge as frickin' Alfred? Come on now.
But no, he was an amazing Alfred. And you were talking about liking different people for, like, Batman and Bruce Wayne. I liked Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, to me, he played a really good Bruce Wayne. Like, he played a really good, like, just playboy type of Bruce Wayne character.
Yeah.
So the one thing I didn't like about it was how, in the second and third ones, how he changed his voice weirdly to make it sound different in the Batman suit.
Batman
You
voice.
beat me to it.
Yeah, the Batman voice was dumb, but like other than that, I really like Christian Bale as both. But I thought as Bruce Wayne, he really, really excelled as Bruce Wayne. So I give this series a 10.
Nice.
I like this series better than I like the Avengers.
Yeah, Batman Begins, I love that they had a misdirect for Ra's al Ghul. They had the old man who, if you've ever read the comics, the old man in the temple looks like Ra's al Ghul. And then you're like, oh, Ra's al Ghul died. And I'm like, yeah, sure he did. But
He can't die.
Right.
but then the whole trip up that Liam Neeson was Ra's al Ghul the whole time. But I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You
And
never
then-
did learn to mind your footing.
And then Heath you guys hit the nail on the head. Heath Ledger is amazing. The magic pencil trick, I loved it.
Pencil trick.
Ta-da! Magic.
And
What, you think you can rob us and just get away with it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm ashamed to say that my least favorite was the third, and that was the one that actually had Talia al Ghul in it. But I will say that they corrected a grievous error that was done to Bane in making him a mindless muscle machine and actually making him an intelligent force like he's supposed to be. It was just one of the things that irritated me about the Schumacher Batman movies. I give the Christian Bale Batman series a 9.5.
Well, we got a new number one.
Yeah, look at that.
Adam, could I have your last comic book movie?
All right. Well, it was going to be, since I hadn't been in here yet, it was going to be the Christian Bale Batman series. But since Pete beat me to it,
Sorry about
which I'm
that.
totally cool with, because I was debating between two, I'm really glad I got to put this in here too. I'm going with the Captain America trilogy.
All right.
So, I really liked the Captain America trilogy. These were all really well done movies. And even if you take out the comic books, just overall as movies in general, these were fantastic movies. Like, I think of all of the MCU movies for the entire Infinity War saga, Winter Soldier was by far my favorite movie in this entire thing. I loved Captain America Winter Soldier. And just like I said, all three of them were so good. I loved Chris Evans playing as Captain America. I thought that was a really good choice. Now, I'll be honest, when they first announced it, I was unsure, because I'm like, really? You got the Human Torch to play Captain America? And I'll be honest, I was unsure. When I saw, after watching the first one, I'm like, no, this dude knocked it out of the park, absolutely. So I'm like, I was wrong, 100%. Was totally wrong when questioned it at first. So, but it was so well done. I liked it so much, and it even kind of shades the V for Vendetta too, and talking about stuff that even is relevant today. And again, this was made back in like 10 plus years ago, 15 years ago at this point. So I mean, it's a really, really good movie trilogy. And Civil War was good. It was not as good as Winter Soldier to me, but I didn't expect it to be. So,
Yeah.
but I would give this as a trilogy a 9.8.
All right, and Pete, what are your thoughts on the Captain America series?
Well, to begin with, Captain America's a nerd. Just gonna say it. We were all thinking it. We all knew it.
All great superheroes are nerds. Spider-Man's a nerd.
Yes, Superman's
Captain America's a
I hate
nerd.
him. I can't stand Captain America, but the movies I loved.
Superman's a nerd.
Superman is a nerd. I agree. But yeah, I don't know. There are certain superheroes that I just can't stand, and it's Captain America, it's Leonardo, it's Cyclops, it's Superman, like the Mary Sue of the bunch. Like, they just kind of drive me nuts. Captain America is is right on point with that. This is another series. I'm not disagreeing with Adam at all. I just don't like the character Captain America. That's not what I'm judging this on. I think the series get better as it went along, like the other ones we've had in this. I think probably my favorite line, I get goosebumps sometimes watching it, is when in Civil War, Cap and Iron Man are fighting, and he's like, how could you betray me for him? And he was like, he was my friend. And he's like, so was I. And then they just like start going at each other again. Oh, it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I love Civil War. Brings Spider-Man into the storyline. I'm a huge Spider-Man mark, even though I didn't like Tobey's. Like, it's really good. I don't remember what I gave the Iron Man series, but I'm gonna go with
9.3. 9.3.
Well, that's funny. I was thinking 9.2 for this one because it just didn't feel as good as Iron Man.
I like the Captain America series. I like the first one. I like the second. But I am such an Iron Man mark that when they did Civil War, they brought in Spider-Man. They even had, if you've ever read the comic of Civil War, the Iron Man blasting the shield is on the cover, and they recreated that scene in the movie, and I was such a mark for that.
Yep, I was there. I remember seeing it in the theater, and he was freaking out. I saw it live in person.
Yeah, it was like, oh, they did the thing! They did the thing! There's so many good lines in that movie, and the one that just burned into my brain was, he's my friend, I don't care he killed my mom. And then I was like, fuck, it just got real.
Yeah.
I give Civil War, and by extension the Captain America series, a 9.
I did love the fight scene when they're at the airport and they're all like, he had the superhero face down basically.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And the whole time, Spider-Man just freaking out because he's like a kid in high school fighting his heroes. And he's just, as he's fighting him, he's just like freaking out. He's like, oh my god, you're Captain America. It's Black Widow. What? Oh my god. And he's just like freaking out and like, because he's a high school kid. It's hilarious to me. I had a really good laugh about that.
You've got a metal arm? That's so cool.
And then Stark making fun of Ant-Man later. Like, I'm sorry, who are you again? Oh, dude, come on. You know who I am.
And for my last movie, I am such a Flash fanboy that when they made an animated movie, Justice League, The Flashpoint Paradox, I was so on board. I watched the movie, I checked it out of the library no less than 13 times, to the point where my family bought me a copy just so I'd stop renting it.
Nice.
I've seen the movie 1,000 times. To give you a quick rundown, Michael B. Jordan from Creed and Black Panther, he was the voice of Cyborg. Nathan Fillion was the voice of Green Lantern. And Kevin Conroy, Batman.
Which Batman?
Carrie Elways, if you're a Princess Bride fan, he was the voice of Aquaman, and I know we give Aquaman a lot of crap, but it was pretty cool. This is what the Flash movie should have been, and failed miserably at making.
I mean, to be fair, you just described the entire DCEU, man.
Fair.
It wasn't just Flash. They failed at everything they tried to do.
Dude,
This is what happens when you have one man directing every single movie.
Yeah,
but anyway,
wasn't great, but if you ever want to borrow a copy of the Flashpoint series, back here. I love the Flashpoint comic series. And when they made it a movie, the animated movie was on point. It hit all the high notes, and I was such a mark. I'm gonna stop before I just gush for hours. I give this movie a 10. If there was a number higher than I could give it, I'd give it that. But I'm giving it a 10.
I was going to say, I was going to wonder when this movie was going to pop up. You specifically asked us to watch it, and you hadn't said anything about it yet. I'm like, it's got to be coming at some point, right?
Yeah. Yes. It is an obscure movie, so that's why I did ask you guys to watch it, so it wouldn't just sink down the drain. That would just break my heart.
No, this was a good movie. I really enjoyed this, and I also haven't watched a ton of the DC animated movies like this either. And I don't know if it's just because it's on Max or if it's just because I'm used to Marvel stuff, but I forgot how graphic some of these can get sometimes in some of their fight scenes.
Oh yeah, DC
like,
gets dark.
I'm not used to seeing dudes just getting their heads lopped off in a fight scene. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I forgot. DC on my HBO just kind of gets real sometimes. And so it's like, well, he got messed up. Dang. All right, then. But yeah, no, this was a really good movie. I enjoyed it, and this one was a lot of fun. So definitely wasn't one that I would have seen if you hadn't said anything about it. So I actually watched it because there's a ton of all the DC Justice League movies are on HBO Max. So like I can pretty much watch almost all of them. So I see them. I just don't think about going back to watch them or just get a lot of time usually to sit down and watch a lot of stuff like that. So it was fun to go back and watch it. So I would probably give it myself 8.5.
All right, and Pete, what are your thoughts on the Flashpoint Paradox?
So this movie actually kicked me into a whole spiral of watching DC animated stuff. I am not a huge fan of the Flash himself. I think his superpower is kind of lame. Sorry. But at the same time, this movie I thought was incredible. I actually saw it because of memes. Back, I don't know, probably a decade ago, there was a bunch of memes going around that was that time the Flash made Batman cry. And they showed, the scene where at the end of the movie, spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 2013, the scene where Flash gives Batman the note from his dad from the Flashpoint universe, and then Batman starts crying in the cave. And that was all, like, no other context. Was just the Flash handing him a piece of paper and then Batman starting to cry. And I was like, oh, man, I got to go see this movie. Like, how did the Flash make Batman cry with a piece of paper? And, it's great. And it got me to watch the Justice League Unlimited series as well. It got me to watch The Killing Joke when that came out.
Oh, gosh.
It's the whole reason I watched that movie, which is my favorite Batman animated movie.
Now that's dark.
Yeah. It was great. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 9 flat.
All right. And that is our top 10 list, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series at 10, Batman Mask of the Phantasm at 9, Spider-Man Spider-Verse at 8, Deadpool series at 7, the Iron Man series at 6, the Justice League Flashpoint Paradox at 5, Batman the Michael Keaton series at 4, the Captain America series at 3, the Avengers series at 2, and top of the list, well-deserved, the Christian Bale Batman series.
Wow. I gotta say, I find it funny that I went into this exercise trying to pick as many non-Marvel and DC movies as possible, and the only one that made the top 10 was the Ninja Turtles. That does make me happy, though, because I do love the Ninja Turtles.
Who doesn't love the Turtles?
Quick honorable mentions, Spider-Man by Tom Holland, the X-Men, both Stewart and McAvoy. Fantastic Four series before 2015. Not fan four stick. The Mask, Batman Sub-Zero, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and The Crow, which I still give the Matrix and the Joker from Christian Bale as in being inspired by The Crow. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch The Crow. You'll know exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, some good ones, man. All right, that's going to about wrap us up for this week. We got any final closing thoughts for this episode, gentlemen?
Yeah, man. If you're into Wesley Snipes movies, Demolition Man, so good.
By far honestly, probably his best movie he's ever done, and probably, honestly, I think my second favorite Stallone movie ever.
You know, I might be right up there with you. I like the Rockies, but there's something about Demolition Man that just, tickles my funny bone, man.
And it's like Rocky IV specifically is my favorite Rocky movie.
Yeah.
And then it's Demolition Man after that.
Yeah.
Like, as far as Stallone movies go.
I think I might agree with you on those top two.
And maybe we'll one day find out what the 3 seashells are for.
You don't know how to use the 3 seashells? Dude, he doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
All right, and on that note, that's going to be it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. You can also find us on all of our social medias, on Facebook, Instagram, X, and on Gmail at geeksandgreeks@365@gmail.com. Until next time, may the coin toss of life ever be in your favor. Later.
Yep.
Peace.